Zippity-bop. Bop-bop.
Zippity-bop.
Zippity-bop. Good afternoon, meat suits. Welcome back to Read It and Weep, a podcast trying to figure out what it's about today. This is going to be a slightly different intro. I'm your host, Alex Falcone, recording as always in North Koreatown, Los Angeles, and I'm joined by Anthony and Ez. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
And we had a short notice dropout. Hunter is sick and was going to try to rally, and then you're back to your purple again, Anthony.
Oh,
Yeah.
is he purple? I'm gonna do that.
It's an option. It was going to try to. Hunter was going to try to rally. He didn't rally, and so we've decided to push off Lost Highway until next week because
Hunter had that thing where he went to sleep as himself and woke up as a completely different character who was living a parallel life. It was real weird. And,
I think it's a shame we had to push it because I bet we all completely understood the movie, had clear readings on what that movie was about.
The other way, I wanted to discuss it to like shake it loose and get it out of there. I didn't want it to be stuck in my brain for another week because we just watched it. But it's going to be just another week of Lost Highway, shaking around in there. Lots to think about. And we'll figure it out by next week. But in the meantime, we're gonna put together just a friend hang. We're gonna do a little.
Can we do just kind of get the temperature check on you? I mean, I don't think it's any doubt that I really like Lost Highway. I think anyone who listens to the show knows me, knows my taste in movies. Hunter, I imagine, is also very similar. But without spoiling anything about a conversation next week, if I just get a temperature check on what you two thought of Lost Highway.
Here's what I think. First of all, this one might be just like a bit too much David Lynch. Here's how I think of it. So imagine you had like 1 to 10 quality score and then like a standard bell curve, right? And on some Lynchy things, like on Twin Peaks, the center of the bell curve is at like an 8. There are 10s, there are 6 moments, but overall I'm having a great time. This is nudged down a little bit. The center of it is lower. There are parts that I absolutely love, and there are other things that I'm not super crazy about. But I do feel like I like weird, and I'm like ready for it. I can roll with it. I just didn't like it all the way, and which you can't. I don't think you can like a whole David Lynch. If you tell me you like every moment of a David Lynch movie, I do not trust you. I feel like you are covering something, perhaps a terrible crime. But I feel like Anyway, that's my temperature. Is like. This is not as fun as the other ones that I've seen. This feels like it's got some misses. But also some stuff that I love. So I don't
know if anyone would describe this movie as fun. Like, I don't think it's going for fun.
Well, there is one very fun scene, and the rest is not that fun. But
was it the driving instruction?
Yeah. Okay. That was pretty fun. Ez, what do you think? What's your temperature check?
Warmer than expected.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
I mean, I think I was going into this like fearing that I was going to have like maybe more of like a oogie feeling, like Dead Ringers, kind of like that was I was gonna I feel like I was gonna like feel gross inside. Instead, I got like a little creepy and
mostly confused.
I was mostly like, I wonder if they're going to actually land this and if it's going to be satisfying. And it wasn't necessarily that exactly, but then I read some analysis on it, and I was like, okay, maybe there was like good stuff in there that if I was a little bit smarter, it would actually feel good. And I was like, okay, that's fine. It wasn't just like he made it up and had no idea necessarily. I felt like there was maybe intent behind it that I can attribute to him.
So
yeah.
Put all that back in this bottle, shake it up. It's coming for next week. We'll talk about Lost Highway next week when Hunter is feeling better.
I don't know if we want to save this for next week too, but I thought this might this might be, since we're looking for stuff to discuss on this episode, something that doing Lost Highway this week has got me thinking a lot about is the things that get lost in our all streaming world that we live in now.
Okay.
So we watched Lost Highway this week. We're gonna obviously push it back. We're gonna talk about the actual movie next week. But Lost Highway is not available to stream or to rent on any streaming services in the United States of America.
That is slightly incriminating to know afterwards. We watched it.
No, we all got it. obviously legally and on up and up.
Yeah,
No
you can buy
questions
it
asked.
still.
Yeah. I mean, that's what
we
we
bought
did. We
the
all,
brand new Blu-ray edition,
yeah.
all of us.
But and this is just something that it's like I've thought about a lot over the last few years. The way that like for so many people growing up now, no, it used to be like, films weren't super accessible. You had to go and like buy a physical copy or go to a video store and hope they had it. But in a sort of like the streaming world, in which constantly new stuff is getting out there, um, just the fact that like certain things are getting lost because they're either like held up in weird rights things, or a
Yeah.
distributor just doesn't want to put it up, or what happens a
or
lot of
a
time.
conglomerate that used to be started by two brothers named Warner slides in and just takes your network apart and cancels everything and takes all your stuff off streaming for no apparent reason, possibly for a tax write-off. Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing about it. It's like there's stuff like this that is like you can still go and find a physical copy of Lost Highway. It's a little bit more of a pain in the ass, but like that's really your
Worth
only
it, and we all
option to
did.
do it. Yeah. But there are other movies, but the movies that are being made for streaming that never got a physical release that get pulled, those movies just straight up don't exist anymore.
Okay, so let
Right?
me just
And like
toss out a
that's
little bit. Let me just give you a devil's theory, which I'm not sure if I believe this. I'm going to start it, see where it goes, and then let me. But remember when they like found that episode of Doctor Who at like a TV station, like on a reel to reel? They like found a couple of Doctor Who episodes a couple years ago. Remember this?
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The excitement of finding a lost thing is pretty rad. And if everything is just always available on streaming, no one is going to have like, dude, you got to come over. We just found this bootleg copy of this thing that we thought was lost forever. Like, isn't it is there potentially something cool about being able to have like an obscure bootleg as opposed to everyone has access to everything all of the time?
Yeah, I guess, but I'm just talking about like I don't know, just sort of like lost media. I think I guess maybe
What I'm
there's even a
advertising,
thing
no, I
with
think
like
what I'm saying is, should we lose some stuff on purpose? Like if you like you find $20 in your pocket, it's like the best day of your life. And if you had $20 in your pocket, who cares? Like,
is this the
should
prodigal
we?
son of like streaming? Is that the kind of thing where like they come back and you're like, oh man,
Yeah, we're happier than if it had never left. Should we intentionally, randomly, like somebody at Disney or Warner Brothers spins a wheel, and like one in every 1,000 things just gets intentionally thrown in the incinerator, and you just have to look for it. You have to like try to discover it later. They keep a few copies. Maybe they give them to thrift stores in Kansas or something.
I love the idea of throwing just 10% of the internet in the incinerator and seeing what happens.
Well, I mean, first off, the internet would be a much better place if we did that, and there'd still be way too much of it. It shouldn't be random. It should be very specified. But also, I think
this is a power you would like, is you can cause things to disappear from the internet forever.
I guess now that I'm thinking about it, it's also like when you hear about lost media from back in the day or whatever, or like older stuff, or like when they found a bunch of reels from Metropolis that they thought was lost and they were able to restore that movie.
Yeah.
But that's also back when like stuff was rarer to get made and there was just less stuff. I wonder if there is like do we as a culture feel when like American Pickle, the Seth Rogen HBO Max movie that vanished without a trace is not possible to watch at all anymore?
What?
Do we feel that? Are we missing something? Are we aware we're missing something there? Like I don't
Sarah
know.
Snook is in that.
Yeah, that was a movie made for HBO Max along with a lot of other movies and shows that only existed on HBO Max and are now gone.
Wait.
There are no more versions of this movie out there.
I would love this to be true. I can totally get this just on YouTube for $4. I wish it was true that I couldn't, because that's way more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Disney it's so funny when you say this.
Pickle vat.
When you were describing this, I was like, dude, we should start a podcast where we just watch lost media. And then as soon as I saw that I could buy or rent this, I was like, well, I don't want to watch Seth Rogen's Pickle movie. I don't give a shit. Like,
it was fine. It was fine.
Only value is it being lost right now.
So it is the stuff that HBO Max pulled. Some of it is available.
I'm sure your point is correct.
Absolutely,
even
I'm
if
sure it's
this
lost
example
forever,
is
just
wrong.
not this.
Yeah. Available for $3.99 in 4K on many many services.
That's like $1 a K. That's great.
That's so true. So I do like the idea of stuff being lost a little bit. Although there's a thing I wanted to watch. So I bought a couple of DVDs of things that weren't available streaming anywhere that I would like to watch, but I do not have a DVD player, and so it's just like I bought them because they were cheap, and I was like, someday I'll borrow a DVD player.
Wait,
but
you don't have a single device that plays DVDs?
Not one.
You can get like a $20 like USB like.
Why would I do that?
Well,
why
so
would I spend $20 on that and have a place to put it? Who cares?
Tiny.
I can just borrow a DVD player from somebody.
You should just buy a PS2. Think about it. You can play Shadow of the Colossus and
watch DVD. I want nothing to do with it. I can't do video. I cannot be trusted with video games. But there's a documentary about this cemetery near me that I want to watch called The Young and the Dead. I'm just sitting right here on my shelf. Can't watch it. I'm gonna get it down for the YouTube watchers. Anyway, I have this documentary I bought on DVD. Cannot watch it. Someday somebody will just bring a DVD player by and we'll hang out. But I don't want to store a DVD player just to watch one documentary. But
I'm
coming down soon.
You're what?
Alex, I'm coming down soon, Alex, and I'm gonna we'll bring down.
But then I have to watch it before you leave, so you have to want to watch this thing with me.
No, you just have to rip it while I'm there.
Oh, I guess
it's legal.
Rip it. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
because it's a backup of your own.
It's very funny that like I have a bunch of devices that play DVDs that I've never played a DVD in. Sure. It's just weird. Well, on just two very different ends. You need a DVD player and don't have one. I have too many DVD players and never need one. Nah.
Okay, so that was so what we've done, by the way, just to catch everybody up. So this is not just a random rambling conversation. We have each of us has brought a few topics that we want to discuss.
Some structure here.
There's some structure. Anthony's first topic of the day was lost media. I'm going to go second, and my first topic of the day is the Purge. So I watched the Purge. That's question one. Are you putting a blue flower outside because you support the Purge? Stupid movie, incredibly stupid movie. I never seen it before. Really dumb.
Wait,
really,
like the original,
the first
Purge?
one, the actual, just the Purge. I watched it this week because it's set in 2022, and I'm going to do an episode of my web series about it. It has almost no technology in it, so it's really just like the question is the Purge happening currently, which it is not, so 0 points. But
well, I mean, I don't know, man. You fucking hang out on Twitter and say the wrong thing, and it's basically the Purge.
Yeah, right? We got Purge culture here.
Yeah.
If you're if you just say one extremely racist rant, all of a sudden your Twitter privileges have been purged. Anyway, here's my question. No. Okay.
The framers of of this country absolutely said freedom of speech should be freedom of retribution and consequences, all those things. That's
freedom of speech means I can say whatever I want and you're not allowed to be mad. Actually, that ties in really well to the Purge, because my favorite thing about the Purge is that they're like, all crimes are legal, including murder. And so people do these murders or attempted murders of their neighbors. One of the characters tries to murder his girlfriend's dad. And they just because it's legal doesn't mean people are not going to be mad, or that there wouldn't be other consequences. Like if you kill your girlfriend's dad on Purge Day, people are going to be your girlfriend, for example, is going to be mad. You killed her father. Not it was Purge, so
I had a pass.
You can't be mad. We agreed, right?
We're on a legal break.
Everybody would still be mad all the time about all of the murders that have happened. I feel.
I've never seen any of the Purge movies.
Oh, okay.
But
you guys have. Okay, so I've caught you up mostly, but now we're just going to talk theoretically.
Go. No, I want to get into that. So from what I've seen of the Purge, the Purge, the first one is it's like a low budget movie, and they came up with an idea so they could shoot it all in one fancy house they rented.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
That's basically the idea,
and it's literally just a house. Yeah, it's one set. That's why there's no technology. This movie was whatever the price of cleaning blood out of an Airbnb. That was the price of this movie.
But yeah, so the it was a huge hit, becomes this big franchise, and then all of the sequels are all about either like explaining how the purge came about, it seems, or like the first purge or whatever. Is any of that world building in the first movie? Like, do
no, and
characters in
actually,
the first
no, they don't
movie
talk
actually
about
talk about where the purge came from?
There is. It's a terrible movie. It's really bad. Here's the thing about the Purge that's so weird is that the premise is like, that's a pretty good low budget horror premise. Like, it's solid. And it's also somehow the movie is less interesting than hearing the premise of the movie, which is a bad job movie making. But like it's some of the laziest. They were like, there's a political party. They're called the New Founding Fathers of America, which is not catchy at all, and they have instituted a purge.
Yeah, but the Tea Party is.
Well, that's true. Fair point.
I mean,
that is one of the dumbest
that's
names.
Not what's great about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're in full power. They've instituted a purge, and like it's made. There's inflation doesn't exist. Unemployment doesn't exist. Everything is great. Except for that's it. There's just like they hear a radio station talking about it on the drive home, and then boom, it's purging.
Wait, so
it's
really just the radio
purging. Yeah, there's some very like local news radio. It's a very strange choice. That's improbable for 20. I forgot about that. I'm going to add that to my 2022 nonsense.
It's not a podcast.
Why are these people listening to the radio? But yeah, there's no world building, but the idea isn't important. In fact, I think the movie is better if they don't try to say, because there's a moment where they're like, mostly this is because rich people don't like poor people. That's the reason the purge happened. And that's just like it's the laziest satire where they like look at the camera and they're like, I am rich and I do not like that other people have less money than me. And that's it. It's like super terrible. And if they were to just be like, look, there's a purge. We didn't make the rules. Like, that's way better.
Yeah, just Groundhog Day. We never actually explained it.
Exactly. Who cares? Yeah, Groundhog Day is the perfect example. There is no answer to Groundhog Day that makes the movie more interesting. There is no way you could add something that would be like, oh, now I like this movie and I didn't before.
I really do hope this same energy carries over next week into our Last Highway discussion about how.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like explaining stuff away or having concrete reasons. I don't want to hear either of you complain about that.
Well,
with Lost Highway.
I can't promise that. I cannot promise. But here's my question, though. Okay, this is what I wanted to get at. This is the point of all this. The Purge is stupid. But the thing about the Purge is that for 12 hours, from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., one day a year, all crimes are legal, including murder. And then the entire movie is just about murder. And murder is not in the top 30 crimes I would commit if they were legal for a day. So my question to you guys is...
rip the tags off your mattresses. That would be number one.
I thought of that.
That'd be the main
I thought of that already for sure. Yeah. I mean, most of mine are like driving related. Like there's places I would really like to park closer to a stop sign than is allowed here. I do feel like for 12 hours, everyone would just get really good parking spaces in Koreatown.
Well, that's a question I have about the Purge. It's like, yeah, all crimes are legal, but like, it can't be legal to like park in front of a fire hydrant. There's going to be more fires on Purge night than ever.
No. So all emergency services are canceled until 7 a.m. Oh. So you could park in front of a fire hydrant and it would be fine.
No, you just got to get the fuck out of there at 7.
Yes, exactly. Which is just like street cleaning, except it's cleaning up purged bodies. Although it does actually raise the idea. So obviously emergency services don't have to work. But the other thing I was thinking about this is like, it's ridiculous that everyone just has the night off. Like, there's no way that like Waffle House is closing for the night just because it's purge. Like, there are people working at like warehouse jobs or whatever, and their boss was like, I don't care if it's purge.
Yeah, you don't get purge off.
Yeah, you don't get. You can use your own PTO. Otherwise, this is an unexcused absence.
Yeah, you might get time and a half on the purge, but you're certainly not going to get the day off.
Fair.
You know,
I got to work through Purge Day. Oh, maybe there's like it's like I'm sorry, guys, we still have to work through Purge Day. It's like what didn't Purge Day used to be about family? Not anymore now.
Let's go back to the original meaning of purge.
Aren't your employees just going to kill you on Purge Day? Isn't that a thing that's going to happen if you make them work? Though?
You're going to get the time off.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I got a couple pitches for Purge Day.
Yeah. What would you do during Purge night?
I mean, so voter fraud would be legal, right? So can I just like be elected the new president? And
That's an interesting question.
And then change the hours of Purge Day to make it like reasonable, because like I want to be asleep during that time and not get purged while I'm sleeping.
Right, you got to stay up all night. Yeah.
Okay,
so
like that.
Election fraud is legal, clearly. But if there's no election happening, can you actually commit voter fraud? This is a problem. So you'd have to be like, I'm gonna move the election.
Yeah, this is I'm illegally moving an election to now committing voter fraud. And electing myself president.
It's tricky.
I feel like you could do this. Also, have they ever done a parody or a sequel called The Splurge, where people are just buying too much?
From 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., all things in America are 90% off.
Oh my God.
Mean, that's just literally what Black Friday is. We already have the
okay, but if it's following the Black Friday month, then the Splurge is not nearly as good of a deal as it seems.
No,
all the deals on Splurge night are like, actually they raised the price so they could say it's 20% off.
That's sneaky. That's not in my new America. That's not going to be legal.
The one thing that I would do, I think, is I would download every movie and TV show that came out last year. Like I would pirate all of them because it's legal for that night, and then I just have everything that happened that was made, and then throughout the year, whenever I want to watch something, I can watch. I've already acquired because I don't think it's illegal to watch a BitTorrent file. I think it's just the downloading that you get letters from Comcast about.
You know what's really fucked up to think about media in movies like The Purge? Like you look at what's happening in our real life and you see the way like Otis like really stretch and reach to create like metaphors for the fucked up horrors of our world in their art. Right. What is like the satirical, metaphorical thing you use to address the Purge when the Purge is you understand what I'm saying? Like,
oh right, what's the Green Day album about the Purge gonna be like?
Yeah, or like when it's a movie
and ends.
When you go to see a movie and you walk out and they're like, "Well, I get that the filmmaker was referencing the Purge, but I don't know if his metaphor really works." You know,
man.
Like what?
Oh man, media in a post-Purge world would be so bad.
Yeah, like what does that?
Or maybe it would be like the way most shows and movies have just decided nothing will be set between 2020 and 2021 and a half. Like we're just going to ignore masks. We don't want to have to put masks in our movie.
Yeah,
so
we nothing over this.
We just skip over. So it would just be like movies would never mention the Purge because it would just bring everybody down. They don't want to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things we don't talk about that happen, like regularly. There's like
maybe there would be a movie called The Splurge, which would be like it's like the movie, like wacky parody of the Purge in the Purge universe, where they're like, "Oh, it is about consumerism." I think it really is.
Oh, or it could be like it's a Wonderful Life kind of thing, but like in a world where there's no Purge, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's so bad! I'm so grateful for the Purge."
Oh, okay. So also there could be you'd have like rom-coms. You'd have like straight to like the Hallmark Channel rom-coms where it's like he didn't want to purge this year because he was so busy, but she knows the true meaning of the purge and helped him purge. And then he was like, "Oh, I was so caught up in my business, I couldn't even purge that night."
Oh my God! Hallmark Purge movie. Like
I would have loved. Can you imagine in this universe where there's like a Gary Marshall and we get like a Purge Day, like sort of like
ensemble cast of just like tons and tons of people meeting and getting in wacky adventures on Purge night. Man, post-Purge media is pretty dark. All right, Ezra, that's my topic one. What's your topic one today?
Okay, let me see what I have. I made notes. All right, I'm not sure any of these are great, but here we go. No, this is fine. So, what candy would you always trade for?
Oh, Halloween candy.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Halloween candy.
I mean,
wait, what candy would I?
Would you always try to always try to get from whoever you would be like trading with?
Well, I guess, so here. So I have a very fucked up relationship with Halloween, right?
Oh,
I'm a big fan of it as an adult. But I grew up in a very, very religious household, so we weren't allowed to do Halloween. So stuff like what kind of candy you traded as a kid, I have no frame of reference on that because if I traded candy, well, that's fucking basically asking the devil to come and come inside me and like take over me.
You would not. So if you
had to,
just traded one Twix bar, the devil will come inside you.
Oh yeah, trade candy not even once. That's how the Satan gets you.
Because you're pregnant with Satan.
I mean, you should be trading with Twix bars, but
Satan loves to get in that way through Halloween, right? Because it's clearly. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when you're like you go into a place and it's like kind of spooky, and you're like, "Ooh, the devil's here." You know, that's what my life was like growing up.
What's funny is I could imagine a time, if you look at pictures from old timey Halloween where everyone is genuinely creepy as hell, like everybody was wearing like genuine witch costumes and looked like the devil. I can understand there was a time
one of them looked fuckable. Yeah, I get it. That back when Halloween used to be.
Like, I guess you're right. Adult Halloweens are sexy Halloween because I was still thinking of kids, but the kids are terrifying in old Halloween costumes. And but the idea that your church was like, where the devil hangs out, Spider-Man masks that you got at the spirit store. Like there is like no one's spooky as kids. It's just all movie characters. You just like, I'm gonna see 1,000 Elsas tonight and give you each candy bars, and that's where the devil lives. Like it's weird.
The devil would maybe live at the spirit, but they'd be running the spirit. I feel like they're not actually living in the costumes themselves anymore, right? It's like I think they're profiteering, but they're not really trying to convert. As my read of the situation.
Right. The
picks and axes.
Yeah, exactly. Picks and shovels. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out a pun for the devil's in the details, but with like making business money. Can't do it fast enough.
Yeah,
the devil's in the spreadsheets. The devil's in the profits.
Look, everyone knows the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was giving kids one happy night of memories once a year at the end of October. That's the classic saying. That's what the devil's his greatest trick.
Rolls off the tongue.
The devil's second greatest trick is that one where you move your thumb so it looks like it's off, but it's still attached because it's your second thumb that you're using.
Then he takes your nose off your face. Yeah, it's fucked up.
The devil's third greatest trick is he's got your nose.
I mean, I think it's the Pillsbury like crescent rolls because those are pretty magical and like that must be evil.
I wouldn't call that a trick though. It is. I mean, if your thing is jump scares. For sure, that is what it's for. Those things were designed to never open until you let your guard down.
Well, it's at least a top 10. Look, it's at least a B-side on his greatest hits album. I think we can all feel comfortable about that.
I think that. Well, I guess if we've learned anything, it's the devil has a lot of good tricks. So saying the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is like that's an impressive list.
Yeah, how do you make me choose?
The devil loves to pull the chair out from behind when you're about to sit down.
Oh, I think that's cheap. I don't like that.
Well, but in the top 10, but it's a trick he does.
Yeah, look, I've been saying for years, we need to take the Christ out of Christmas and put the devil back into Halloween. You know what I mean? That's
two important
what I'm
things to do. Yeah. You're an originalist.
Well, so then, Anthony, then, do you have any, like, I guess, candy hoarding or trading advice as an adult now, I guess? Like, where do you come down on any of this now, if you have tastes in such things?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of candy. And I think get it. That's my only advice. Have fun. Eat the candy. Enjoy it. Yeah. Look.
Well, can I turn this back on you as then, since Anthony's passing? Is there a difference in the high value candy that your kids feel versus when you were trick or treating?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think they don't have as much disdain as I do for like the hard candies, I would say. Like, and for example, also like they like sort of like the Tootsie family a little bit more than I do, whereas like that's cheater chocolate, that's not real.
Yeah, that was low value for our trading family. But I think they're still, if you trick or treat today, are you getting a similar mix to when you were a kid, or is like are people still doing circus peanuts? Are you still going to get candy corn?
I never got circus peanuts in my life as a youngin', so
maybe it's a regional thing. Do kids actually get candy corn trick or treating? I always thought candy corn was just like
you'll get one or two
somewhere,
just loose. You get like one or two like plastic bags. I'd say.
Yeah, Ezra and I both made the same shape. It's like a square clear cellophane, and there's like 5 candy corns.
Yeah, it's
for the record, I'm pro candy corn. I'm for it.
I'm fine on it. Also, I think it gets more hate than it deserves. But no, I mean like there's it's similar. I think there's some personal preference stuff where it's like. I will take, say, Junior Mints over Milk Duds, for example, and I think that maybe they'll kids will like, reasonable minds will vary. I mean, I'm always.
But is there a new candy they're getting? What's the difference in candy right now?
There might just be like, this is a candy that you recognize, but it has some things that you maybe don't understand. So it's like, maybe it's like you have more like dark, like a dark chocolate Milky Way, for example, or like there's maybe
like a Snickers that's on TikTok.
Yeah, right. A Snicknock.
Snicksnock.
Yeah, I mean, kids are still like getting candy. You're not like going around and getting like Funko Pops or anything like that.
Right. This is exactly what I'm trying to get at. Is there like, something? If I had a bag of your kids' candy, because I'm playing some horrible joke on them, and I had a perfectly preserved, not bag, pillowcase, because that was our move, pillowcase full of candy from when I was a kid. We dumped them down in similar piles. Would it be like, oh, this is the 90s candy, this is the 20?
You'd get it, like, you'd know, but it like it's. I'd say this is more like, if it's a movie metaphor, this is more like mostly like in like practical in person, like in camera effects. So it ages fairly well, I guess. It's like maybe there's some new stuff, but it's like, I'd say like in the like at least 80% similar of like the hits, where it's like because I think the people buying them are still
the
like
90s kids.
Right, there's 90s kids, so it's like, and so there's still a market for the most part to sell it to.
Well, I do, there is, like, if you go to like just a gas station and you look at the candy wall, it is like the same things but all a little different. Like, it does look like they just got them wrong or whatever, where it's like, oh, it's Butterfingers peanut butter cup or whatever, where it's just like, oh, they're constantly tweaking the recipes and trying to make it new.
There's a bit of sort of like, but it's not crazy.
But you're not getting like Japanese Kit Kats or something where it's like,
maybe one.
These are green tea or something.
Yeah, no, maybe one, but like for the most part, you will understand this. Like if you had a trick or treater from the 90s who jumped ahead to now, they would understand and be able to eat this candy fundamentally.
So,
to go back to your earlier question,
the only thing that really changes, it seems like, is the moral panic around it, which is something that's so funny as I gotten older. Like, I think I imagine the candy and sort of like the spirit and energy changes the same, but just like little things kind of shift in and out. Like maybe the candy brands change, or like when we were a kid, right? It was all like, razor blades and things.
Well, yeah, because we still definitely in my like third grade or whatever, someone definitely mentioned a razor blade with an apple, as if a child who has a bag of candy and an apple is eating the apple. Like, in what world on Halloween night would you eat an apple out of your bag? You wouldn't. If you put a razor blade in an apple, no one will ever find it. That is a perfect safe hiding place for your razor blades.
Well, people, what I was saying is that people now, every year, especially since marijuana has gotten legalized, every year there's warnings about making sure your kids aren't going to ingest pot candy. And it's like, do you know how much money pot candy costs?
So it's changed. It's the same idea, absurd. But it's moved over a little.
But yeah, it's like moral panics that you see, especially, one of like, there's a lot of bad things that get shared on like TikTok and social media. But recently I feel like I have seen a lot of stuff about like, especially as Halloween comes up, people being like, check your kids' bags for candy. Or I've seen a lot of people posting the urban myth of like, if you see a tissue on your car door that's filled with fentanyl, and that's people trying to abduct you. And it's like, no one is just giving out fentanyl for fun, right? It's just expensive. And two, it can't just absorb through your skin if you touch a napkin with it on it. Well, no one's wasting fentanyl to get on your skin.
When you were working in this industry, Anthony, what's the price of a pot gummy? What does a gummy go for? Or do you buy a bag of gummies? How does it work?
I mean, it depends. You can get like single servings, or you can get packs of like 10 or whatever.
What's like a 10-pack cost, do you think?
It's gonna start at least like $6, go up to 30, depending on the brand, the quality, flavor, stuff like that. But yeah, no one is buying.
Yeah, between 50 cents and a few dollars per gummy.
Yeah.
So you'd have to, like, compared to, I don't know, between $6 and $12 for 100 candy bars on Amazon currently. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and no one's buying drugs to not take the drugs. It's just not a thing that happens.
It's a very silly. Okay, I want to wrap on this with. I want to answer your question as best I can, as really quick, which is that I have two sisters, and we had generally very similar taste in candy. So, like, peanut butter cups, gone first, always the top value candy. So the key is always to moneyball the candy trading. So there are things that are out of your price range because everyone values them, but the key is to find the highest thing, the thing you value more than other people do, so you can get better than market rate. And I think my memory is the little boxes. So Nerds, very good, like underappreciated but high value for me. But also like Milk Duds Whoppers were in those little boxes, and those were just like, a Whopper is close enough to chocolate candy. I mean, it's not great, but it's definitely
a fun mouthfeel.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's got a fun crunch. So for me, that was slightly higher than other things than it was valued by my sisters. So that was like, you could get a good return investment on that. You could try a lot of like those chalky, what were they? The pills, chalky pills.
Like the
you
Smarties?
A lot of, Smarties. You get rid of a lot of Smarties, get better Nerds, Whoppers, that world.
Yeah.
What was your move?
I mean, I would always try to get another. I think I liked the crunch. I think specifically always chocolate. Like everything else, you want
chocolate over fruit for sure.
Yeah. Unless it was a gummy, like the Lifesaver gummies when those came out, I liked those. But yeah, no. It's fundamentally, I think I'd be going after Twix,
Twix,
Kit Kats, and like maybe there'd be like 200 grams, and like that's like 100 grams are like, I think, for the amount of like, I like those so much more than they were ever like available.
100 grand is an obscure banger from my childhood.
It's just got a lot of stuff in it. It's real good.
Okay, so this mix on Amazon, by the way, is Sour Patch Kids, which are amazing, but also Swedish Fish.
Okay,
it's like a 50-50 bag. That would be a weird. I don't feel like people would be excited about the Swedish Fish.
Mouthfeel, it's very similar, right? Where it's just like, I'm like, I know it's gonna be fruity and stuck together in my teeth for a while.
The sour is the point of the Sour Patch Kids. Okay, we're back to the top. Anthony, topic number 2. Question number 2. What else is on your mind today?
Well, so my wife and I, we've been watching this, there's a lot of good TV going on, a lot of bad TV that we're still watching, but we've caught up on a lot of stuff. So we're sort of watching stuff week to week and things sort of drop out. But to fill the time in between, my wife and I have been hopping around and revisiting a bunch of old shows. Now, my wife, she knits and sews a lot and likes to have like a sort of go-to shows that she puts on in the background to rewatch while she's doing stuff, or she's like wants something she can kind of watch absentmindedly. Where am I going with this? I'm just kind of freestyling.
I do feel like I had the slight inkling that was like,
curious
he's not sure where this is going. He's hoping to find a question in here somewhere.
Yeah. But no, so my question is, because my wife and I, we started rewatching The Good Place, which I have not watched since it originally aired. Right. And it's a very, very good show. And it definitely feels like it is a show that needs to get into like my comfort rotation for when I want to have something kind of just to put on in the background. Some of the episodes in that show are so fucking funny and well written and clever. And I just wanted to kind of talk about that idea of sort of like warm blanket shows, the shows you revisit and things you like, you put on in the background. You do. We've also been revisiting True Blood, which I have not watched since it originally came out. Very
just that nice warm feeling of True Blood.
Yeah, fun, vulgar, cartoony. I really like True Blood. It's not a good show by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a show that everyone involved in it knew exactly what they were making, and that comes through so well, especially the first few seasons before it gets really bad. But yeah, it's just like everyone's having fun, screaming, covered in blood, acting like a complete and total idiot all the time. It's fun. It's a good. It's been fun to rewatch.
I wish I was. I've talked to you guys about this a little bit before. But it's mostly embarrassing and not great answer. But my like put on in the background, my like general comfort is Discovery Channel garbage, not scripted shows. So like if there are some people moving a pile of dirt in Alaska and hoping there's shiny bits under it, or if there's like people on a boat hoping they find some crabs, like. That stuff like goes well in the background. There's something for me, especially when I'm working, where I like having people working on the other screen, just like the people doing. It's like, wow, it was just both of us in here putting a hard day's work. You guys are doing the most dangerous job on the ocean, and I'm trying to figure out like what's a funny law to break if I had the purge, and like, but we're just hardworking people,
We're
we're
all
just
doing it, yeah.
two
the joke
employed,
minds.
similar. We have so much in common. Ez, what's your comfort TV?
Okay, well, I guess so. So one of the ones that my kids keep on going back to is Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
That I really like it when that's like on the background. That's a nice one. Like if I'm making dinner and they're like I know the episodes well enough that like I'll know kind of like where it's all going. That always feels like a good place to drop into. Another one that we've been my wife and I have been going back to recently is Scrubs, which was like kind of a key show for us for sure.
Yeah, that was a college time.
Yeah, so that was a lot of those good kind of pivotal years, and like especially their first several seasons of that were great. And like Sarah was has been listening to the podcast that Zach and
where
Nolan
Scrubs
do.
watch Scrubs. Yeah.
So it was fake doctors, real friends.
Yeah.
And no, it's been like a nice kind of thing to have like kind of going on. It feels like there's a lot of good stuff, and that's for all the Ted Lasso fans, it's the same showrunner, and so it's kind of like you can see like some of the important ideas of like work type families and that kind of stuff that come up beforehand.
That's sweet.
Did he stay with Scrubs the entire time, or did he leave at some point?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, the show left the channel was on.
Yeah.
And there's a weird like it got like one more season, I think, like on ABC.
And like Zach Braff is barely in the last season, right?
So like that all gets like that. I don't think I never finished that. Although like there's like Dave Franco is in that last season. It's got some weird stuff on it. But yeah.
Anthony, you were talking about shows that like, well, at least for A Good Place, that's a real plot heavy sitcom. Whereas like Scrubs, you could just drop in and be like, or like, classic episodic, you throw on Seinfeld. It's not like, oh, I wonder what was the situation in because they're going to talk about buttons for 40 minutes or whatever. Like The Good Place sounds like it would be less replayable because it's so like, where are we on this arc? Is that not been your
I mean, I don't think so, because it has the plot is so propulsive. I mean, a big part of why I love The Good Place so much is that it's a 22-minute comedy version of Lost. Right? I mean, down to like the structure with like the flashbacks and every episode ending on a cliffhanger, and but it breezes, and it's so like smart and snappy, and like the way each episode is essentially like a short little summary of a philosophical or a moral and ethics quandary, right? The way the show builds each episode around its sort of like themes of what it's going to, and like you get a little bit of information and a really good example of this like moral and ethical quandary that they find themselves in, and they explore it from like a specific point of view each time. So like it's kind of fun.
Do you feel like you're a more moral person from having watched the show?
I'm probably a worse person for it, honestly. But that's because the show doesn't outweigh all the other bad stuff in the world getting into my brain every day. So,
I mean, one of the things about that, like the structure of the show, and I do love the show, but one thing about it that's weird is like, look, we have to have this is hell. All of these people are terrible people. So we have to, but we also want you to like them and want to hang out with them. So everybody has to be like, oh, his problem is he's like a little indecisive. Like it's just that just even her is like, I mean, yeah, she worked for this phone scam, but like everything else about her is like mostly likable all the time. And they're like, we just tricked you. That's how hell works. Everybody's likable here. But for the first season, they're like, these people are in hell, and they're all pretty swell.
Well, I mean,
swell in hell was the alternative.
You should go back and rewatch the show. They're not. They're not painted as monsters from the beginning.
But they were always just like a certain kind of charming monster.
Yeah, but no,
it's just a funny like track they had to walk along.
But Eleanor is like a particularly heinous human being throughout the whole show. I don't think you remember a lot of the stuff she does in the first season. I don't. But and then secondly, I mean, a big point of like The Good Place's whole thing is like the no ethical consumption under capitalism thing that the later seasons really
I feel
get
like that's
into.
a later addition, but yeah.
But I mean, because the first season's not really about sort of the grand universe that the whole show takes place in. The stuff that gets pulled back like a Shrek onion as it goes,
Okay. My second topic I want to ask you is real quick, which is I don't know how to phrase this exactly. Like, what is your strategy for bad customer service interactions, or maybe just what is your work? I'm in the middle of a customer service nightmare.
Are you servicing someone, or are you being serviced badly?
Well, I don't think Alex has a job we don't know about, so I'm gonna imagine he's the customer.
I don't know. Like, look,
I am just as important as crabbers on the Bering Sea. We all work very hard, Anthony. We have equally difficult jobs. No, I'm not.
No one's judging. No one has to feel bad about it.
I just, I like the simplest way is like I bought a new phone and they are trying to charge me more than the thing says on the thing I clicked on when I bought it, and charge me more than is currently being charged on the website. And I am like 15 emails deep, and 4 times all they're doing is just like copying like a help center, like copy pasting a help article into an email and not reading what I have said. And I've gotten the same email response 4 times that is not like literally like word for word. This is the same copy pasted text 4 times. And I'm just like so frustrated. So I want like either is there a solution, a strategy you guys have for this, or just like what is the wildest time this has happened to you?
Grow the front of your hair out really long, cut the back real short, go full Karen on them. Get the full Karen haircut going.
Oh man. I have sort of controversial Karen opinions that I don't want to talk about right now, but I will say I do sometimes envy people who are able to stick up for themselves, because I am not one of those people normally. And so
is that what you think Karens are normally doing?
Okay, I shouldn't have said it that way because it's too enticing. But I will say that as with anything that the internet touches, it has grown to expanded to be like misapplied to many situations. And I think it started with racist person, and now it is sort of like any woman who sticks up for herself. And I think it's like a deeply sexist meme, the Karen world. And it's like if a guy is rude to a server, it's just fine. It's just named James Corden. That's normal. But if a woman does it, it's Karen. Like there is a nickname to be mean to women on the internet. And there's in a way that there's not for men. And I think anyway, that's all. And it's not where I don't want to go, but it is frequently misapplied. Not to defend any of the initial people where this came up, but the way the internet is, there's a sexist misapplication of that term. I think largely.
I'm so surprised that the internet would get something wrong like this.
I know. It's so weird. But I've never sent food back in my life. Like I can't stick up for myself if there's another person involved. Nope. I had a coffee not too long ago where they clearly had not finished rinsing it from the dishwasher and it tasted like dish soap. And I just didn't have coffee that day and put a full coffee in the receptacle and just left. I've never, but in an email, I'm just like losing my gosh darn mind with these people copy pasting help articles. And I don't know how to actually.
Anthony, you go first if you got something.
Oh, I mean, there's a difference between standing up for yourself and getting what you paid for and treating people who are working the job like garbage. Just as someone who works in customer service for a long time.
And I don't currently, but I have worked in customer service for many years. And I do 99% of the time side with the customer service representative, which is one of the things that makes this hardest is that I am being treated, I think, very unreasonably currently. And I'm trying so hard not to be mad, but at no point has I just want to can you just read this email exchange and tell me honestly, you think you guys are doing a good job? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Okay. And you can get mad at a certain point, especially if you're doing something if they're doing something unreasonable, if they're not treating you well, if they are ripping you off. You have a right to get mad, and you should. You shouldn't take that getting madness out necessarily on the employee working minimum wage who can't change the rules, but you can communicate to that employee working minimum wage who can't change the rules that I am unsatisfied here and you need to bump me up to whoever can do something here. right? Like,
I actually did say, can you please escalate this at one point? And then a person came in on the email chain that's like, hey, I'm a supervisor, and then pasted the exact same help article that the other person had. And I feel bad for email exchanges because I know that person is somebody who's got 10,000 support tickets open and is getting like brutal stuff from their supervisor about how many of those they can clear at a given moment. But also, I'm not going to pay this extra $100 because of this mistake, and I am not going to give up on this.
Are you getting scammed? That's my first question for you. Is this a legitimate big company that we're talking about?
Yeah, this is Google. I bought a new Pixel. This is a Google phone, and so the answer. I'm buying an Android phone. So the answer is yes, a little bit. I am getting scammed for sure.
Yeah,
Google has never actually supported or finished working on any product they have released. So for sure, a little bit scammed. Yes, but and also just like they don't know how to run a direct super company. Yeah. Stadia is like a thing that I thought, hey, maybe someday this will get me into video games, and then Google was like, oh, we forgot we owned this, canceled.
No, they took it out back and shot it, left it in the ditch with all their other stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what. Yeah. So
okay, I got some pitches for you then, Alex. Okay, so one, I generally like alternative communication. Like I don't actually like email generally, so I think phone, like in person. Phone, live chat, and then email would be sort of like my ranking above. So I would look to like start over with that instead of that. If you want to play your blue check card, I would maybe at them.
So I did slide into their DMs. That was my new move this morning because I do have the blue check, but I'm not like I want to make a public whiny post about this.
Yeah,
there are times when I would, and this is like I'm not quite there yet. But
I mean, look, I think they can take it. I'll just say that.
No, it's not them. It's me. It's my timeline. People following me. I don't want them to see me throwing an at fit unless it's really, because I see a lot of comics with the blue checks being like, man, my bags were delayed a half hour. And it just feels like use your power for good. There's more important. Save it for when there's a real issue that would be also interesting content for someone to follow. And I can tell even describing it, not interesting content yet.
Yeah,
it's just that they're wrong. And that's like not that interesting.
So I guess, yeah. Is there a physical, I don't know how the Googles work. Is there a physical place like that sells them that you can give it back to?
The Google store? I don't think that's the thing, right?
I think there was one in
everyone has a store these days.
They had one in New York for a few hours. I don't think they currently have one here, but that could be wrong. But the idea of calling, like I'm never going to call anybody. Under no circumstances will I talk on the phone to anybody.
Okay, so that's so ironic because you just paid all this extra money for a phone and you're not going to use it.
They still call it that, but it really is a TikTok machine. That also does phone calls.
You can be really nice in person on a phone, and they generally want to like it. It is harder for them to. It takes a lot longer, and it's more effort for them. They can't talk to more than one person at once, but they can chat and email with more. So it's like.
You can chat. You can chat with 1,000 people at a time. Right. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah.
And so also, have they already charged you the extra money and you're trying to get it back, or are they saying you paid what you thought and the
amount that they're saying that I owe is $100 more than the amount listed both on the thing that the offer that I paid and on the current website.
The last thing I would do, because like you can generally. We're kind of trapped with like a lot of big companies. You can kind of have them fight. So I'm assuming you put this on a credit card, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You can actually like dispute the charge and say like this was this amount is higher than I thought it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be this amount, and you could like screen cap that for Visa, whoever, and they'd be like, oh, here's the $100 extra difference basically, and go it that way.
Well, I mean,
that's smart. Because I could also just return the whole thing. I could return the phone.
And then
the problem is it took me like 12 hours to get all of my passwords set up, get everything logged in again, get all of my fingerprint matches, get my Face ID. The idea, well, I don't think this is technically sunk cost because if I return it, I have to do it again. If I don't return it, I don't have to do the work again. So it's like not quite sunk.
It's the principle of the thing, though, fundamentally.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But wait, what is their line? You said they keep just posting the same bullshit. What are they saying that they didn't do wrong?
They're saying this is an automatic system that charges you the amount that the phone costs. And I'm saying that the website says it's a different price. And they're like, this is an automatic system that charges you the amount that the phone costs. We can't touch it.
Well, I'd usually be like, look, I could return this, right? And then it'd be an open box thing, which won't be as good for you, right? And you probably will, there'll be like, that's going to be problematic for everyone. Can we work something out with this, right? Because, it looks like you're advertising this price and I don't want to have to go after, whatever, my credit card and have them, do a whatever back charge thingy.
So you are saying, though, threaten them is what you're saying.
I'm
saying that was two threats in one.
Our goals are actually aligned. We want the same thing. It's worse for us if we go the other way.
Yeah. Here's what you should do. You should email them back. Email them back with a just a few questions. Like, do you guys know what good customer service is? And then
oh man.
And then send them a link of you binging what is good customer service. And then ask them, do you guys know what the price is? And then send them a link of you binging the price as it was listed. And then just send them a bunch of...
the Bing interface will push them over the edge, you're thinking.
I'm just being like, you have no power over me, baby. I'm using Bing. I don't give a shit.
These are strong ideas. Ezra, what's your final topic?
Okay. Is there anything that you can do, say like in the first hour or so of being awake, that ensures that you're going to have a good day?
Ooh. Interesting.
Well, first thing I do in the morning, every morning while I'm still in bed recently, is I do my daily framed. And I've noticed the quicker I can get it, it's usually a good sign for the day. If I wake up, because I do it as kind of like a thing to get my brain moving, like first thing when I wake up, is why I like to kind of do like these sort of like daily puzzle things then, rather than when I'm all the way awake. It kind of like helps rev up the engine, So if I wake up, I get the frame in like one guess. I feel like my brain is firing on all cylinders and I'm good to go. Sometimes it takes a few more. That could be, I'd be like, okay, maybe I'm a little slow today. Maybe I need to kind of ramp it up.
But this is less than the thing that forced you to have a good day than like you're taking your brain's temperature. You wake up and you're just like, are we doing good? Yes or no?
Well, I mean, I find it's a good like barometer for where the
I think it is a good barometer, and I think this is the right answer to Ezra's question, which is no. You wake up, all you can do is check in with yourself and be like, is this going to work? And if the answer is no, all you can do is get through that day and roll the dice on the next morning.
Back to sleep. I also do the framed in the morning. So for anyone who doesn't know, so it's framed.w2f, which is like the Wordle for
Wordle for movie people.
For movie people. Anthony, what I thought you said was my daily praying, and I was like, wow, is this a bit or not? And then also when you get through it as fast as possible.
Daily framing, which is also like I just set up what my day is going to be like in a frame.
Intentionality.
Yeah, this is very spiritual. No, this is you play a video game.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do think eating breakfast helps me, but that's not.
Boo, boring. Do something else. What else you got?
No, I don't think there's anything that I can do. I don't think I could win or lose the day in the first hour. I think that's the truth. I think your first hour is almost even not that indicative of what the rest of the day is going to go, because at any moment you could get an email that will change whether I'm in a good mood or a bad mood all day.
Really? Any moment?
Any moment. Yeah. Oh yeah. I let an email really, that's what so here's my answer to this. I guess my real answer is I do not try to affect the day. The emails tell me if the day is good or not. I let the emails just hit me and then either pump me up or destroy me. That's what I do.
Have you tried not checking your email for a while?
I did. This is this was a thing my therapist recommended, was taking email notifications off my phone. Really did help. Got way worse at responding to email though, and that has been an issue with some business relationships. But yeah, not looking at the email, way better than looking at the email.
Yeah, I like. So I do like my framed in the morning. I also like the no email in the morning. I've taken email off my phone entirely. I cannot access an email on my phone. I think though.
Is that why you're slow when I email you stuff?
Well, I mean, that could be. Could be that. Could be asking a compound question, and I can't. My brain can't work that well.
This is a problem with I know 7 ways to contact you, so it's really just like I have to decide my urgency level, how much I want to annoy you with this, how much I want you to write back. Yeah, there's a lot of steps to it.
If you need urgency, it's got to be text probably.
Right.
If you need depth, I will get to it, but it'll probably have to be email. If you
Right.
if you want to text me about the email you sent, if it's urgent and depth, I guess I will do that for you also.
Man, anybody sending me a notification in a second place for the same thing drives me crazy. I have
not a parent.
I have a group that I have a company that I work for that sends me WhatsApp reminders of events that are on my Google Calendar, and it is so annoying. It's like it's clear that they have other people who work for them that are children mentally. I've got the calendar. That's where I put my calendar stuff, not in WhatsApp chats. It's very upsetting. Let me handle this. But also, I'm sure.
I mean, you also won't say anything because you're also a child who doesn't stand up for himself and drink soapy coffee.
I was like, sure, you can have my WhatsApp account. Sure, here's my phone number.
I think feedback is a gift. If I'm doing a bad job, I want to know about it.
Feedback is a gift.
Yeah, it is. This is a thing that. Well, all right.
Feedback is a grenade that you hand to people.
Grenades can be gifts depending on what you blow up. Like,
no,
look, these rocks over here, they're in someone's way. You blow them up, that's a gift.
Not with a grenade. A grenade is just a shrapnel device. There's very little actual rock moving potential.
All right, challenge accepted.
Look, I know that if there's somebody who could figure out when a grenade is a gift, it's you. That's not like a kid's book that should not exist. Alex. This is a great kids' books that should not exist. Is When is a Grenade a Gift? And it's just like a hippo handing a grenade to a giraffe. Anyway, okay. This has been great. We're right at the hour mark. Let me do one more thing before we go, which is I want to read one email. This is from Alethea, and this is from a couple episodes ago.
Okay.
And they say this is about back to the. Remember doing this movie watching game, right?
Oh yeah. It's very easy to explain.
They say I completely understand why this is towards me. Why I used your power to get out of the niche Asian cinema mode, but I still feel like there were several missed spooky October opportunities to go with via Leslie Chung going via Leslie Chung to Rouge, and Hunter would have loved that so much. So this also would have been better if Hunter was here. I forgot this was a Hunter related email when I opened it. Anyway,
tell him again later.
Get well soon, Hunter. Yeah, this is one of the things about the points is it sometimes caused us to watch movies that are not as fun. There are this would be a different game if your goal was always to pick the most fun movie from this instead of trying to win.
The way I've been playing it? The way I've
for a while. The way you played it sometimes.
Yeah, most of the time.
Ooh, this is a good plot for Rouge. Okay, so in 1987 Hong Kong, newspaperman Yuan and his girlfriend Chor are drawn into a doomed 1930s romance when the ghost of a courtesan Fleur plays an advertisement looking for a lost lover, Chan Cheng Peng. She has waited in the afterlife for Chan for 53 years and believes he has become lost.
I love this. That sounds great.
It's a good pitch.
It does sound very, very good. It also reminds me that for what I've been for years, as I've talked about on the show, we watch a horror movie on Halloween or around Halloween. This has expanded the last few years as my wife has become spookier, and so we watch a few more horror movies in the month of October. And I have not gotten spookier, and especially last week watching Casper, I was just reminded that I like spooky month and I do not like horror month. I like ghost nonsense. I like silly light. I like Hocus Pocus level Halloween. I do not like Purge level Halloween stuff.
Either of you, I mean, I can't imagine a movie either of you would want to watch less, but have either of you seen any of the stuff about Terrifier 2? I believe that's what it's called.
No, but I didn't see Terrifier 1. Would I understand the plot?
No, I have not heard of Terrifier either, but there's a new horror movie called Terrifier 2, and it's doing one of my favorite movie gimmicks. It's a very, very old gimmick. It's a very tried and tested one. But I guess this movie is deserving it. But again, they've been saying this about movies. One movie every 15 years gets this. But they're doing the thing when they're having like EMTs at showings and they're providing vomit bags. Yeah. And they're like people are fainting all the time at screenings. Again, I don't know how real this is because people have been doing this for years, this gimmick. But apparently Terrifier 2 is causing people to faint and vomit and just have panic attacks from watching it because it's so violent and gory. And I love that. It's one of my favorite old timey. It's very like Kearney showman.
Yeah. So just to be clear, you're not saying you love Terrifier 2. You're saying you love having an ambulance and vomit bags at a horror movie as a way to sell that horror movie.
Yeah, and it's just like it's one of my favorite gimmicks in like movie distribution history is like giving out, oh, this movie is causing people to faint, so see it at your own risk. It's so Coney.
It's
and
very
sideshow. I love it so much. It's great. It makes me feel good about movies again.
I love it. All right. Well, I guess last question then. Is there something else that could be outside of a movie that would make you like the movie more? Horror movie or not, any movie. Is there something available? Because the thing that makes me know I'm not going to like the movie is a box for returning your 3D glasses. But is there something else that could be standing by?
Oh, like this your quality, like oh, I know I'm going to like this because
yeah. Sort of like the way, like when you're watching a movie and you see like the Warner Brothers logo, but it's like changed and you're like, oh shit, this movie's so spooky. It even got spiders on the Warner Brothers logo or whatever.
I do like that.
Is there something outside the theater you could have? Is it like there's like firemen are standing by because this movie is so hot and they're going to give you a cold hose down on the way out?
Yep, that was it. You got it. It's the firemen.
Yeah, I don't know. There's priests are standing by because you're going to feel real guilty when you leave this. Is there anything else?
All right, I'm not sure if that's true, but like a novelty, like themed popcorn bucket.
What could it be themed as?
No, just like whatever the movie is. But I feel like if it's
they
big
just
enough,
print it on the thing.
Yeah, it's like I like the confidence that they had, where it's like, look, people are going to love this movie so much, they'll want to have this popcorn and remember this movie every time. This plastic bucket
I do that.
is
Yeah,
used
I
for,
do
like
the
mail at their
I don't
home.
want to collect your cup from a movie, but I do like the confidence of like you're going to want to have Batman on this cup.
I really loved. I don't know if I love this, but I thought it was very funny. The local theater by my house. After I would sort of going there, sort of not post because COVID's still a thing, but kind of when theaters started to reopen, after COVID, they were constantly giving out 2 years old, like fancy popcorn holders and cups for movies that never came out. Because they were supposed to come out before COVID, so they pre-bought all these Wonder Woman cups or Wonder Woman popcorn things, and they're like, "We've got to get rid of these." So I remember once going to a movie and getting like a large novelty cup, a big popcorn bin, all for movies that weren't coming out or like had gone straight to streaming, never played in theaters, and just having all these weird like props that basically like, oh yeah, COVID came and just fucked all this up. So these just been sitting in a storage room for a year and a half, and they were like, we just got to get fucking rid of these. Just give everyone Wonder Woman popcorn. I don't care anymore.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, that's not as good as a fireman hosing me down, but
no,
especially if the movie was hot.
Painful,
I don't need.
I feel like unless they like, are they only doing half pressure, quarter pressure?
Yeah, I assume that's what the top thing. You go. You can decide how.
Depends
on how hot the movie is, Ezra.
Yeah. Look.
All right, let's call it there.
Great.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to a special friendship only movie podcast.
Wait,
friendship only
we're
episode?
Not Friends with Hunter?
Well, no, this is like the best of the show.
Oh, so
this
it's
is
like
an all-star edition of the show. It's just the elite.
We were nominated for the Pro Bowl of the show.
Yes, exactly. This is all. We all won all-star, and he didn't, and so we did. No, I meant like normally it's friendship in movies. This was just
now
friendship.
It's just the friendship part.
Yeah, it was a friendship only podcast this week, and we appreciate you hanging out. And if you have 6 topics that you'd like us to discuss in an episode, you can send us an email, podcast@read-weep.com, or if you have any suggestions on how to make Google give me $100 back, please let me know. I appreciate it. And we'll be back next week with Hunter back to 100%, or whatever he's normally at. 80. How much do you think he gives on the show? No one gives 100, but he'll be back, and we'll be talking about Lost Highway. We're gonna find it. We'll be there to find the highway next week. Thanks for being here, Anthony and Ezra.
Yeah, I don't know if this was a good episode, guys, but I had fun. I don't know how listenable it was, but
if people didn't like this, they should just know there's a huge ego, super ego subtext between the three of us that they'll have to parse out, and that'll it's really good. Like if you're not getting it, it's because it's there. You just have to dig in.
I'll also add, Hunter is sick. That's just the message. I don't know why that message is important to deliver at the beginning and the end of the podcast, but I've done it.
Now, I got you.
Letting you guys know. All right, we got to run from the cops. We'll talk to everybody next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.